Hey, we're live. The base is dropped in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the 2018 MLS Cup, as I learn how to push buttons again because I'm that tired. Because last night, Atlanta United booked their first trip to MLS Cup. Crazy, wild, everything you can imagine in a game where Atlanta United didn't complete 50% of their passes because who cares? It was one of those kind of nights. Portland Timbers will be the opposition on December 8th. If you did not see Sebastian Blanco's goal, go watch that and study that and fear that and all of the things. As Atlanta prepares for Portland in what should be a very interesting championship match. Jason Longshore, John Nelson, Jarrett Smith here with you this morning as we all try to recover from last night's craziness, remember our names, all of the stuff. That's what we'll be trying to do today. We'll also be taking your overreactions on a Friday after Atlanta wins the Eastern Conference Championship in the most beautiful loss you will ever imagine, 1-0 against the New York Red Bulls, 3-1 on aggregate. Atlanta advances, and there you go. I have not talked to either one of you guys. We handed off to Jarrett and Andy Bunker on 92.9 The Game last night before Mike and I broke down and sprinted to the bus to catch a flight. No, it was not Soul Plane, as Mike thought it was going to be. It was a group. No, because the job's not done yet. That's the thing, guys. That's what's so you have to keep in mind here. Winning a trophy and winning the Eastern Conference Championship is great. It's awesome. Anytime you get to lift a trophy, anytime you get to share that with a group that you've worked with mostly for 2 years, it's incredibly special. But it's not done. There's a bigger trophy that you're playing for on December 8th. The job is not done yet. That's why it was not out of hand. That's why the celebrations were heartfelt but not out of hand because it's not done. It's going to be an amazing night on December 8th. But, Jarrett, I would love to hear how the listeners on 92.9 The Game reacted last night, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the win/loss in Jersey last night.
Yeah, everybody was pretty much, hey, best loss ever. There was we had one guy in particular who called in last night. Forget his name for the life of me, probably because I didn't get his. I got a little more sleep than you did, but I don't know how much we're going to measure. But it was a lot of. Look, we grew up with soccer when it wasn't, the popular thing around here, and we were excited to see a team come in here, and never in our wildest dreams did we think they would be what they've done, that they'd capture the city the way they have, and now here they are on the doorstep of American soccer greatness. And I think everybody's just kind of trying to process it, that, you went from not having a team to Arthur Blank announces one to 2 years in action, and you're one step away with a team that has just been nothing short of magical this year.
Yeah, what was one of the really cool bonus things last night was seeing Arthur Blank on the field celebrating. I don't know. I haven't watched the TV broadcast, obviously, because I've only been awake for a few minutes this morning and didn't have access to that last night. But I don't know how much was shown on TV, but getting to see as the stage was being set up and the players were heading back over from celebrating with the fans, Arthur Blank and Darren Eales, hug at midfield, and you could tell how emotional that was for both of them. And seeing Tata Martino at the very end of all of it, as everybody was getting on the stage, hang back and let everyone in the front office, everyone who was there, who had been part of this, that you probably don't know and that you don't see and you don't know exactly what they did and how they contributed to it, Tata Martino was the last one to get up on the stage. He let everyone else get up on the stage in front of him. And just how special of a moment that was for everybody concerned. I mean, that's the part that I'm always going to be able to hold and cherish, and that being able to be there, and for the Atlanta United folks who were on hand, I know you'll be able to share that as well. But to be able to see that firsthand and see how much it meant to people who have worked and worked and worked to make something like that happen, it was very cool, very special. John, what do you think from where you were watching? You were watching at the Stratford with our friends, The Faction, right?
Yes, I was. And to answer your TV question, there really wasn't a whole lot. It was when the stage was coming out, they go to commercial. You see some player celebration. You see some of the running into the corner. You see Arthur and Darren on the dais as the trophy is being presented. Darren is laughing seemingly uncontrollably for good reason. And Arthur has a big smile on his face. And really, you just hope that no one pushes Michael Parkhurst too hard during the celebration because of the ankle injury. But all indications are it was okay. At the Stratford, you had various and sundry moments of faction supporters doing chants, and it was in the upstairs area where they were having the viewing party. The truck where we are sometimes up in the crow's nest doing our tailgate shows was out front. It had the TV monitors going, and you had kids in their Andrew Carlton kits and their Joseph Martinez kits celebrating by taking them off and whirling them overhead. And so it was a special evening for faction folks, and the viewing party at Atlantic Station, by all indications, and we do have a story from Denise Dillon from Fox 5 here locally. She was there, but from all indications, the viewing party at Atlantic Station was absolutely ape nuts bonkers, as it should have been, and it was. So here in town, there were a lot of folks who were celebrating in the middle of it all, and we had viewing parties from all of the supporters groups. Hudson FC, from all indications, where our friends at Unrelegated were, was quite loud. And associate producer emeritus Jay Riddle found a way to insert Christmas lights into his beard and turn them on and off with great regularity. So there was a lot of celebrating and a lot of different ways to do it.
Yeah, let's hear a couple of the clips from local news. Arthur Blank with 11 Alive last night.
When you started this club, what was it going to take for them to be as successful as they are this quickly?
Well, I think it starts with, the president we hired, Darren Eales, has done a fabulous job. We brought him in early enough where he could actually hire all the best people, have time to do their job, do it thoughtfully, do the research on Georgia, on Atlanta, on the soccer market, on coaches, on players, and whatever, and then just continue to hire at that constant level. And that reflects itself in the coach we were able to bring to Atlanta, who's a fabulous guy and a great soccer coach and great players. So. And Atlanta turned it on. I mean, in every sense of the word. I mean, to see that enthusiasm and excitement, that passion, that energy coming from our fans every match we play at home is unbelievable. And even away, I mean, our fans here, they're yelling, screaming. You think it's a home match for us, but they're beautiful tonight, and we're very excited about next Saturday.
You've been a part of this community for so long. How proud are you that this venture turned out the way it did so soon?
Well, it's incredible, and it's easy for me to say, but it's more important for people who are astute experts on sports in the United States to look at what we've done over a couple of years and say this is probably the best launch of a professional team in the history of the United States of any sport, and to be part of that, and for Atlanta to be part of that, gives me great pride, and I have great gratitude for everybody in Atlanta and everybody in our organization.
You're going to have a Super Bowl in your building in a few weeks, but you got an MLS Cup coming up, too. How excited are you about that?
Well, that's the Super Bowl of soccer for North America, and I had an opportunity to do an event today with the Atlanta Chamber of Commerce, and and remind everybody that I had a Atlanta United tie underneath my vest, and I showed everybody my Atlanta United tie and said, we're going there tonight, and hopefully we have an opportunity to compete for the soccer Super Bowl next Saturday, and we look forward to that.
Thanks, Arthur.
Wes Blankenship, one of the 16 different Atlanta credentialed media who made the trip. And, Mike Conti told us that yesterday. 0 credentialed reporters from New York came down for the match on Sunday. And you had 3 TV stations represented yesterday in New York, in New Jersey. That was incredibly cool to see. Because this was, and as Wes talked to Arthur about, this was like a Super Bowl. And this is how the game should be covered and treated in this country. And it's just so cool to see that happen, to see that type of reaction. I mean, that was Arthur Blank on the sideline at the Georgia Dome as the Falcons won the NFC Championship in 2016. It was the same emotion. It was the same feeling. It meant the same. It was very cool to see. Let's hear from Fox 5, our friends over there, this was from the viewing party at Atlantic Station, correct, John?
Yeah, this is Denise Dillon. She was on site in the middle of it all and got to hang out with fans and talk to them during the whole game.
Let's hear this one from Fox 5 and Denise Dillon.
The enthusiasm and energy here tonight off the charts. They were cheering the team on the entire night, and most folks still celebrating. Dressed in hats, scarves, Atlanta United gear, thousands of soccer fans are here at Atlantic Station to cheer on their team.
Hey, champions bring fans, period, in the story.
The energy and enthusiasm vibrates throughout the crowd. Atlanta United playing the New York Red Bulls in the Eastern Conference Final.
I am very excited, very nervous.
Fans that have been with the Atlanta team all season long, filling up the stadium at home games.
Over 70,000 fans, all cheering and chanting the same thing. It just sends shivers up your spine.
It's intense. Every kick, every pass. Everyone here has one goal: to see Atlanta United win.
Camaraderie and community that's associated with it is just outstanding.
Atlanta wins. The cheering and chanting here just amazing, and you can bet it's going to be even bigger. December 8th, when Atlanta United hosts the MLS Cup. At Atlantic Station, Denise Dillon, Fox 5 News.
Thanks, Denise. As you say, the MLS Cup will air Saturday, December 8th, and it'll be right here on Fox 5. It starts at 8 p.m.
Cannot wait.
Fox 5 will have the broadcast. It'll be on Big Fox, over-the-air Fox. I think that's going to pull a rating in the metro area. I think that's going to pull a rating.
Folks
in the
might
South.
watch.
Just a few. I think the ones who haven't been able to get tickets yet will be watching that one. That's going to be pretty special. We're going to take a quick break, try to get reset. I'm going to try to shake some cobwebs off, and we want your overreactions, your underreactions, your on-par reactions as you wake up, knowing that in a little over a week, Atlanta United will be playing for the MLS Cup against the Portland Timbers, who are a formidable opponent. They went into Kansas City last night and battled their way to a win that I don't know how many people expected, and they showed the danger that they're going to bring to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We saw it once earlier this season. This is an even better Timbers squad than we saw then, and they were in the midst of a big winning streak at that point. This is a team with Diego Valeri and Sebastian Blanco who can rip your heart out. Go ask Kansas City how they feel today. That's what you have to worry about, and that's what Atlanta United will start worrying about as they wake up today and prepare for the first MLS Cup in club history. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Apolinski & Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Apolinski at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Apolinski is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Welcome back. Soccer Down Here. It's a beautiful Friday morning. Atlanta United is going to MLS Cup, and they will be hosting the Portland Timbers on December the 8th, next Saturday. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big day. Try to recover today if you can, folks. We'll be getting into your overreactions as we go. Now, something else I haven't had a chance to hear yet. Sorry to be a little selfish here. I'd like to catch up on what I'd missed last night from the FS1 broadcast. These are the highlights, which there honestly weren't a ton of, but these are the highlights from FS1. John Strong and Stuart Holden.
It is the second leg of the Eastern Conference Championship. The New York Red Bulls with a mountain to climb against Atlanta United this year, wearing all red at home. Atlanta will go to the King Peach, white and orange. Joseph Martinez can effectively end this thing in the opening seconds. It was saved by Robles. That would have been the second fastest goal in MLS playoff history.
Well, there's a touch, and it's actually Tyler Adams who's trying to clear to get it away. Nagby gets a foot on it, and he gets on top of the ball. His first touch isn't out of his feet.
Kaku just putting it out in front. Dangerous area. Guzan, second chance. It's in. That's a goal. And boy, is it an awful lot like the goal Anatol Lebong scored 10 minutes further along 3 years ago, which gave the Red Bulls some life with Columbus. And now Jair Marufo is going to go have a look at it for himself.
Let's see here. Here goes. He doesn't get a good punch on that one, but is the ball controlled and secured in his hands?
Will this be a second Red Bulls goal chalked off via video review in this series? Yes, it will. But just as it was in the first leg, that is the correct call, frustrating though it might be for New York.
Yeah.
I wanted to see one of the really key players. Guzan in a lot of traffic. On the doorstep, Parker puts it in. There's about 60 seconds left. The shutout is gone. Guzan is frustrated. The Red Bulls would need 2 more to force extra time. There is the final whistle. All right, Atlanta, we're coming to you. We'll see you next Saturday night for MLS Cup 2018. We'll find out in a few hours who it's going to be against, either Sporting Kansas City or Portland. And Atlanta have done the job.
They did the job, and we'll be seeing John Strong and Stuart Holden and the rest of the Fox Soccer crew in Atlanta next weekend. Let's get into a couple of things from the game. There's honestly not a ton of moments of highlights to really break down from this one. It wasn't that type of match. It's what happens when you have a 3-0 lead coming in. The disallowed goal for the Red Bulls, second disallowed goal in the series. This one was far easier than the first one to call back. Watching it live, weren't 100% sure. I actually thought his arm could have gone up and made contact with the ball. But then when you see the replay, the first replay, and I think this is why it only took Jair Marufo, maybe one look to determine. Brad Guzan has the ball in his hands, and it's headed right out of them. Jared, and he also, we were just talking during the break, could have also been offside, and I didn't even get to that point. It was obvious that he had headed it out of Gazan's hands, so there's no goal there.
Yeah. I think he was offside. I'd have to go back and look. Right now, everything's a blur to me. Still trying to put everything together in the right sequence. It's like splicing. I feel like I'm splicing tape right now. But yeah, it was easy. It was an easy call. It was the right call. But Jesus Christmas, that had to be deflating for New York. They finally put the ball in the back of the net after Atlanta's basically said, nah, all night. And they finally get a set piece that worked. The rest of their set pieces before that, they had a couple set pieces in those dangerous positions, and Atlanta just stonewalled them. They finally get one that works, and it gets called back. They just can't get over just how deflating that must have been of, we finally got something to go our way in our fashion, and it doesn't count.
Yeah, and again, this is something that has to be explained better to the live audience because there was no explanation, and fans were angry, as you can completely understand, and things were thrown on the field. There were things thrown on the field in the nightcap as well that led to a delay. You didn't have that sort of issue here. I thought Jair Marufo was outstanding last night. Jair Marufo is the best referee in Major League Soccer by far. And that's not even to say like there's not other good referees in the league. That's to say that he's that good. Managed that game to a T from the very beginning. You knew who was in charge, and you knew where the line was, and he knew he was going to let the players decide who advanced. He wasn't going to get involved in any way to determine it, to have a huge factor. He wanted to be in the background, and he was. So when this happened, he was able to get play going again quickly to just diminish it. And I think he realized why things were being thrown on the field and the frustration. Now, there was something thrown on the field early in the game, and I have not seen discussion about it yet, and I don't know what was shown on TV. But as Miguel Almiron was preparing to take a corner kick really early, and he stepped away from it, something was thrown. I don't know what. I haven't seen close-up video or anything, but there was something on the field, on the ground, next to where he was standing. We could see that. We talked about it on the broadcast. John, was that ever really figured out on the TV side of things?
They couldn't quite figure out what exactly was thrown. They did kind of Zapruder and zoom in, and you get pixelated when you zoom in a little too much. But you could see someone from the front row throw an object, and this individual was probably 10, 12 feet away from Miguel Almiron. And then you see Miguel react, and I sincerely hope that he was pointed out very quickly, and I sincerely hope that he was taken to the resident Huskow in Harrison, New Jersey for doing whatever it was done.
Yeah, it was not cool, and that was at the very beginning. Like that, there's no explanation for. There was also stuff thrown at the final whistle, which was not cool. Stuff that nearly hit some players. Just stop this nonsense. This cannot continue.
There was a nice collection of bottles piled up behind Brad Guzan in like the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and a lot of that came from the VAR incident. And that one, honestly, I can give you a pass because you've had 2 goals called back in the series. That was the one. You get that. You have some time. You might be able to find a way in. But that one, with no explanation, I can give you a bit of a pass. But the one at the beginning and the stuff at the end, no. It's unacceptable completely.
And possible shout-out to Red Bulls fans because it looks like on that Zaprudered film, whoever is sitting next to or near that person who threw the bottle or threw whatever it was at Miguel, it looks like people in that area are pointing that person out. Look, I mean, every fan base is going to have, there are people who make really dumb decisions in the moment. Shout out to, if that's what happened, though, shout out to the Red Bulls fans around who were pointing out exactly who did it and calling for security and doing everything they could to make sure that person didn't represent them beyond that moment. Because at that point, like, you don't want it to happen, but you also don't want them to be there after that, and you don't want them to represent your fan base. No fan base wants a representation like that, I think.
No, not at all. Is that the clip you just sent me, John?
Which one?
You said shout down.
Oh no, that's the end where Mike is referencing. This is after the match is over, and the fans, the Atlanta United fans, are doing their thing. You guys are coming back from break.
Okay, we'll get to that here in a bit too, as well. Yeah, it was frustrating to see, and then to hear about a delay that led to 8 minutes of stoppage or might have been 9 minutes of stoppage. I think it ended up playing out to be about 10 in Kansas City because of stuff being thrown on the field. Look, this is way too many times stuff has been thrown on the field. Stop it. Just stop it in this league, please. This is not what we want to see in Major League Soccer. It's not what you want to see in any sport. This has been now in the postseason, LAFC, Red Bulls, and Kansas City, all with pretty significant incidents of things being thrown on the field. Stop it. It's just so stupid. There's no place for it. So hopefully that will start to go away, and hopefully that doesn't happen on Saturday night at Mercedes-Benz. And Atlanta's had a history of it too. There's no place for it. There's no reason to do it. It's dangerous. Don't do it. Don't do it at all. The Red Bulls fans, I felt bad for the supporters group. I feel bad for the hardcore supporters, the longtime supporters of the Red Bulls, because they've had to see this play out over and over again, year after year, where you've had 3 supporter shields, 2013, 2015, 2018, and you haven't made it to MLS Cup. That hurts, and it's a problem that the club needs to figure out. We talked about it probably since this matchup was set up, and the fact that you have 2 teams coming in, one who is very flexible and can adjust, the other who has one way to play. And when they try to adjust or have to adjust, as we saw last night, they struggle to do so. And the Red Bulls last night, having to play a game where they carried the possession, really, Jarrett, they looked like they lacked ideas as the night went on. They looked like they were rushing things. They looked like they were trying to play too fast for what they could actually do. They just didn't create the quality chances that you have to in this situation to get back into it.
Yeah, we were watching this before the post game, naturally, because time is a linear thing. And Andy and I are watching it at the station, and I think he says it. Somewhere in the first half of just, God, they're so stagnant. When they get the ball, when Red Bulls get the ball in the attack, they're just standing around. And I know this was discussed in the build-up on this show, in a lot of places, but there were times they just stood around. Like BWP would jump back and forth, onside, offside, kind of trying to move the line a bit, but they just seemed to stand around. And then when, after they stood around and nothing happened, they would try and play a vertical ball over the top. And either Parkhurst or LGP, who was played out of his mind again, because why not, would just head the ball out, and Atlanta would either start a mini counter or just fire it back down there and make New York start over again. And just time was a flat circle for Red Bulls. Atlanta just said, no, you're not going to do that. So Red Bulls would get it back. Everyone would stand around, and then they would decide to play a vertical ball again. I got to pull the numbers. I forget how many clearances Atlanta had. I think the number is a lot. But
it's definitely a lot.
Here's the thing.
I can tell you in a second. Wow, 59.
Yeah, they just kept playing in long balls, and Atlanta kept saying no. Here's the thing. I think we established before, Red Bulls were going to come out and they were going to be aggressive. They had to get that goal early. They had to get a goal early in that game to have even a shot here. Just mathematically and emotionally, Red Bulls had fewer shots on goal than Atlanta United did at halftime.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They had one shot on goal, and I'm pretty sure that was the one that was like either deflected or scuffed that just rolled to Guzan harmlessly.
It was.
They had one shot on goal.
When you need
Good
3
Lord,
to
defense.
send it to extra time. Yeah.
Yes.
The defensive effort was insane. And full shout out to our buddy Devin, who does a lot with ATL UTD Fan TV. He hung out with us at the podcast-a-thon around All-Star. Devin has not been a fan of Leandro Gonzalez-Perez. I don't know why. I've had this conversation with him many, many times. Devin's tweet this morning, and thank you, Devin, for sending this. This is awesome. Full mea culpa here. Longshoe was right. Last night, LGP showed himself to be one of the best defenders in the league. The man was a rock, a wall of gigantic rock. Bring that on December 8th. He was immense. Parkhurst was immense. Lorenowitz was immense. The three of them just shut almost everything down in the middle. It was crazy. And we went round and round about man of the match. There was a lot of shouts for Leandro, as there should be. He had 14 clearances on the night. Parkhurst had 16. We went with Miguel Almiron. And the reason why is so different than the usual times he wins man of the match. Miguel Almiron defensively was like that cornerback that you bring in to completely take a receiver out of the game. Do you guys remember a player by the name of Kaku? Remember that guy?
Yeah, he was on his tail most of the night. Or anytime he got the ball, either he got it, he had to drop back to get it, in which case Miguel ruined his day. And on like the few times he got it in an attacking position, Eric Remetti did the same thing.
I mean, I can imagine next time the Paraguayan national team gets together, Miguel just putting his arm around Kaku and saying, "Sorry, man. Sorry, dude. I had to do it. Sorry. Sorry." Because he owned him. He owned Kaku. Kaku was the only way the Red Bulls were going to get back in this. They needed to create. He is their playmaker. He is why they spent a lot of money to bring him in from Huracan and replace Sasha Kleshin, who had led the league in assists the last 2 years. They wanted to get younger. They wanted to get more dynamic. They wanted to get quicker. None of that mattered because Miguel Almiron dropped in to make the 5-3-2, the 3-5-2 turn into a 5-4-1 a lot of times, where Miguel dropped to the left when Kaku went to that side and kind of shadowed him a lot of times. But in the second half especially, as New York tried to play through Kaku more, Atlanta took that away. And it was something that Mike Conti and I talked about in the broadcast, where Atlanta made a couple very key decisions here early on. And I think this is incredible credit to Tata Martino and his staff. They made the decision early on that Bradley Wright Phillips was not going to hurt them. They made the decision that Daniel Royer was not going to hurt them, and they made the decision that Kaku was not going to hurt them. If somebody else did, more power to you. But those three guys were not going to hurt you. They really did not get much. None of the three had a shot on goal. That's pretty amazing. To get to that point and to be able to take out the top three guys. Sorry, Kaku had two. They were deflected. He didn't have any real key chances. You limited this team so much in what you did. And that was the most important thing. And you dealt with set pieces well, too, and that's another part we'll talk about. But you left it to Sean Davis, to Alex Muil, to be the guys that were going to be able to make something happen. And they didn't. You took the stars out of the way for New York, and Atlanta was able to get through. Jared, one more before we go to break.
This was there were parts of this game where it reminded me of Atlanta last year. Honestly, there were times where New York reminded me of Atlanta when teams will bunker against Atlanta, and the Five Stripes last year just didn't have an answer. Sometimes, Almiron would have to drop really deep to get the ball. Everyone's standing around. They weren't sure how to break down a bunker, and there were parts of New York last night that reminded me of that Atlanta team from last year, where they didn't have an answer. Kaku's dropping back. Everybody's dropping. Playmakers are dropping back just to get possession to try and make something, and they're harassed and can't do anything.
Harassed. That's definitely one way to put it. It was a team defensive effort and a very prepared defensive effort from Atlanta. It was far more defensive than I expected, and it was glorious. Anytime you can complete less than 50% of your passes, only give up one goal, and survive the best team in league history at home in their building where their backs are against the wall, it's a beautiful night, and it's a beautiful defensive night. and Atlanta showed that they have more tricks in the bag than just scoring goals for fun. We're going to take a break. We'll get into your overreactions, underreactions, on-par reactions after this.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. Ah, that's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Appolinsky & Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Appolinsky at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Appolinsky is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Welcome back. Soccer Down Here. Getting ready for MLS Cup. Week from tomorrow at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Kickoff will be just after 8 o'clock, actually. I think TV broadcast starts at 7:30 on the national call, and not sure what our local friends at Fox 5 will have before that. I know we'll have a ton of stuff on 92.9 The Game all day. It will be treated like a Super Bowl. And Mercedes-Benz Stadium actually becomes, it sets another mark. It'll be the first venue to host MLS Cup and a Super Bowl, and not that far apart, John. This is kind of a big year, a little over a year for Arthur Blank and crew at A&B.
And let's see, what was the highest attendance for MLS Cup? Was it 61?
Yeah, 61 and some change at Foxborough, the old Foxborough, for the Revolution and LA in 2002. And that was technically a neutral site. The Revolution just won their way into it to play in it, and that's why it was such a huge crowd.
And I have a fairly confident indication that there will be more than 61 at MBS.
Yes, you can book that.
And I am seeing on our timeline that our friends at Ticketmaster are already registering the match as a sellout.
Well, alrighty then.
SeatGiant.com. Use the code SDH at checkout.
Yes, there's that. And there could be some tickets held back, and there could be some standing room onlys that will go on sale. I've seen a few things as I'm trying to gather everything in right now. I don't know exactly if it is completely sold out yet. I know it will be. Those seats up at the very top that they bring down for the big events, people will be in those. Standing room on the Sky Bridge over there, in front of the big window, that'll be full. It's going to be insane.
The fire marshal will be the most important gentleman on that day.
No, they won't, because they're not going to shut anything down. They're just going to take a number and they're going to get out of the way, because that's what's going to happen here. It will be as full as it can possibly be. And it will probably be as full. Trust me, the fire marshal's not shutting this game down. I can guarantee you that.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I say he's the most important person.
No, I get it, but don't worry about it. You're not going to have that. They're not going to matter. The most important person is going to be somebody in an Atlanta United kit on the field, because it's going to take a big effort to beat Portland, even at home, even in the situation. The Portland Timbers have been a very dangerous team this season, and I don't know what it was about them as we've kind of watched them grow. That first month plus was kind of ugly. Remember, they had a long road stretch at the beginning as Providence Park was being worked on. And, again, same will happen next year as they expand it by 4,000 seats. It's going to be difficult because Giovanni Savarese is a manager who is one of the better tacticians in the league. And I think one of the better man motivators in the league as well. And he gets the most out of what he has. And right now, this is a team that is completely comfortable sitting back, protecting, and in letting Diego Valeri and Sebastian Blanco go to work. And Sebastian Blanco did some work last night in Kansas City. He had probably the best goal ever in Major League Soccer postseason history. Let's hear those highlights from ESPN, Adrian Healy and Taylor Twellman right here.
Weaving around Roger Espinoza. Blanco fancies it. Oh, I say! What a stunning strike from Sebastian Blanco! And in the blink of an eye, he has turned the tables here.
With time and space, 25 yards out, an absolute ridiculous finish here. But look at the initiative. He takes on Espinoza, picks up his head, absolutely perfect technique. The ball dips under the bar over Tim Melia, and the Portland Timbers are right back into this one with an away goal. Sebastian Blanco, take a bow.
Villafania. Savarese still waving him forward. It's delicate over the top. Immobisi, Emilia, it's headed in by Valeri, and it counts. The flag stays down, and the Timbers have turned this game upside down.
Just this group of players in the hotel believing in what they're doing. This is all about belief. How often has Diego Valeri...
Espinoza leaping to win it, and then laying it off Zusi with a lot of space to work with, keeps it low, a little dummy, just 2-2! Oh, it is far from over! Very far! It is all in the melting pot once more!
Where's it come from? Graham Zusi coming forward, but now because you're throwing caution to the wind, 1, 2, 3, 4 runners inside.
They've worked the corner short for Zusi. Away from Villafania, Chara, nicely done, and Blanco asking Chara to run, and run he will. Has Valeri available? Diego Valeri could finish it here. He's through. Valeri for Portland has scored, and that is that. El Maestro for the Timbers, who are heading back to MLS Cup.
Full credit to Kansas City for coming back from 2-0 down to get it to 2-2. And then referee puts up a lot of stoppage time. And you start to think, are they going to do this? Are they going to pull off a miracle? Diego Chara is maybe one of the more underrated players in this league. I honestly thought Diego Chara could have been an MVP conversation. He's that important to the Timbers from a holding midfield role. He takes off on the run at the end. Valeri puts it away. Valeri gets 2 goals on the night, Blanco with another, and Portland finds their way through. As we were on the bus headed towards the airport, I was able to pull up the Portland radio call. Jake Zivin, Ross Smith, Nat Borchers, who do awesome work, just absolutely awesome work. Very cool to hear the excitement from those guys as they held on in stoppage time. It was 2-2. A Kansas City goal would put them through. Portland was through on away goals at 2-2. But the game could have gone either way, and Kansas City had chances. They had some big chances. But Chara leads the break to end it for the Timbers, and Savarese gets to his first MLS Cup. This is a guy who has won multiple championships in the NASL and played for another one. a player as a player, he was really one of the first goal-scoring stars in Major League Soccer. And now as a manager, he takes a team that Caleb Porter had not quite built from scratch, but essentially had made into one of the powers in the league. Caleb Porter won an MLS Cup. Porter, last season, decided that was it, that he wanted to leave at a time when the cupboard was not going to be bare. He didn't want to leave whoever was coming in after him with nothing to work with. Giovanni Savarese came in and had some things to work with. He still had to figure it out. He still had to find the right combinations. But Savarese now has the Timbers in MLS Cup, and they're coming to Atlanta. We saw him earlier this year, 1-1. Blanco, Valeri, Chara. This is a Timbers team that can ruin your day. And Tata Martino, I'm sure, is already sitting down with video in front of him, looking back at that game from earlier this season, looking at what the Timbers did last night, looking at how they've changed from the 4-3-2-1 that they were playing coming into Atlanta that turned into a 5-3-2 here in Atlanta to now playing a 4-2-3-1. And Tata Martino is going to be hard at work preparing his group, who I think last night was probably Martino's best coaching job in his time in Atlanta because of how prepared they were for every possible scenario. Now, he's got a lot to think about. And it's not going to be easy, John, getting ready for MLS Cup and the Timbers with their game-changing players in Valeri and Blanco, but also just a solid foundation of talent.
And we had a question in the queue, and I'm trying to find it, having to do, here we go. Portland with 3 center backs on Joseph all game last time, and Chewy thinks wingback play will be critical for the goal and chance creation. What do you think? Do you go back to the 4-2-3-1?
This is going to be part of that chess match because I'm not for sure that Portland plays 3 center backs here. They haven't been playing that for quite a while. They hadn't played it much before that either. That's the thing, and that's what was so surprising in that one, was Portland came into that getting heralded for playing the 4-3-2-1, the Christmas tree. They came in and played 5 in the back, 3 center backs. Now, are they going to do that again? It worked. They got the point. They're going to probably need more than a draw because they don't want it to go to penalties here, I don't think. Not with the talent that they have. I don't think they're going to play for that. So this is where it gets really tricky if you're Tata Martino and Giovanni Savarese. Because you have 2 teams who we have seen both of them in 3 center back setups. We've seen both of them with 2 center backs. We've seen teams play a 4-2-3-1. We've seen Portland play the 4-3-2-1. Everything's on the table here. And I don't think either manager really knows what the opponent's going to do. I would say Savarese would probably be able to jump to a reasonable conclusion that Atlanta will play the 3-5-2/5-3-2. I think that's a safe bet at this point, but it's not a guarantee. I think you could assume that Portland would play a 4-2-3-1 based off what they've done in the last third of the season. I don't think that's a guarantee. This is going to be fun. From a tactical perspective, this is going to be a blast. Savarese and Martino are 2 of the best, and I think we're going to get that on display at the Benz next Saturday. Let's take a break, come back, get into more of your overreactions, underreactions, on-par reactions on an Overreaction Friday after this.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume. Yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
Had to be independent and take initiative, and that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency, or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Appolinsky & Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Appolinsky at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Appolinsky is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Welcome back. Soccer Down Here. Overreaction Friday. We'll be getting into your reactions, over, under, on par, all the reactions to Atlanta United losing but winning last night. Portland winning in pretty spectacular fashion. Tickets for MLS Cup, which are going fast if they're not gone already, and all of the craziness that is going to lead to the first MLS Cup in Atlanta history next Saturday at the Benz. John, what do we have on the Twitters?
Drew Gano has a dilemma.
Okay.
He needs some advice. Quote, I've missed both playoff games and have Section 131 seats for the final. Dilemma. Come home a day early from our honeymoon or watch on TV from the beach.
Oh, Drew.
This is a foundational marriage question here.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Set a tone. How much emotional capital have you already reserved?
I don't even know if that factors into it. How much? How is this going to work with the wifey? That's the biggest question here. That's the number.
That's
one
what I'm
question.
saying. Yeah. Do you have enough pluses on the board where she would agree with you to come home a day early? Because this is a big one that would go up against all those pluses that you may have built up between now and then.
Well, you don't know that. It might not be a big one. You don't know. No, you don't know that. She might be a big fan too. So you jump into the conclusion that the wifey would not want to go, which you could be way off. You could be hugely off. This is a fan base that is very heavily female, and that's another big cool part of it. I think it's something you don't see as much in professional sports. So it's another way Atlanta United is kind of leading the way. Drew, I can't help you, man. I can't help you with that one. You're going to have have a conversation and make a decision and see where things stand. I wish you luck, but I am not going to go on the record and tell you what to do in that scenario. Not having it.
And let's see. Joe Bost, after missing the TV broadcast first half, I sat on pins and needles, but maybe after 60 minutes, I knew they weren't scoring 3 goals. My on-par reaction, LGP was a beast. They all played so hard, and as a team, there isn't just one man of the match. Tata is just wow.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm really going to be getting into man of the match and we were going to go in a unique direction, I would have given it to Tata Martino and his staff. I was just blown away by how prepared this group was. And Look, it's not easy to defend in the way that they did. I know people think it is. It's not. To be able to commit to doing that when your identity is truly founded on being a team that is an attack-minded, go out, create chances, swashbuckling type of squad, to be able to look at the evolution of this team, Jarrett, from let's not even take the first game last year. Let's take the first half of the season last year, where we watched Atlanta United become maybe one of the best attacking teams in MLS history, with Martinez, with Almiron, with Villalba, all getting out on the break, but also able to create stuff from standing still as well. And looked at the end of last season where you started to see them kind of try some stuff. And remember the little bit of postseason training that they were able to do. And some of the things we were hearing about, well, Tata's got us working on 3 in the back. What? Like, Tata's got us working 3 in the back. Why? Wow, what's that for? And they did. And we started to see that become more of a thing this year. And you've seen a team go from being somewhat one-dimensional in that they were attack-minded and people worried about them defensively, even though we all know that was a little overstated, to a team now that can do this in the Eastern Conference Final and protect that 3-goal cushion with a master class of defending. That evolution doesn't happen by accident, and that's why Tata Martino has been the best manager in the league over the last 2 years.
Yeah, the way this team has evolved and changed, and not even just tactically formation, but just kind of like, I think the mental fortitude of not just the individuals but the whole team has just been, it's jaw-dropping, really. I mean, you go back to the Minnesota game this year where LGP gets sent off in the first 15, 20 minutes, and they just bunker down and defend because they had to. And last night, they come into the game and they decide, hey, we're going to defend for 90 minutes. If we get a chance, which they did early, they got a chance 10 seconds in.
There's that.
I want to believe that Joseph just scuffed the shot because he didn't get all of it. I wonder if he just mishit it because you had that chance there, but otherwise they seemed fine. Like, we were wondering how balanced they would be. Man, for a team that attacks as much as Atlanta does, it puts up 70 goals a season. Your attacking teams aren't supposed to look that comfortable on paper. They're not supposed to look that comfortable defending like that. And they looked like they didn't care at all. Like, yeah, this is fine with us. Whatever.
Teams are not supposed to be able to do both. It's generally not how this works. And Atlanta has been able to do both things and to be able to get a player like Miguel Almiron who can do both and can make that happen. Unbelievable effort. Just unbelievable effort and unbelievable commitment to putting in that work. Because it's easy if you're a flair player, if you're a star player, to say, I'm not going to chase that one down. I'm not going to get stuck in here. I'm not going to go into this tackle 100%. It's going to be okay. I'm here to score goals. That's not how this team plays. From the top all the way to the back. Joseph Martinez put in a ton of work last night. Miguel Almiron was everywhere. Just an unbelievable effort all the way around. And that effort is bringing MLS Cup to Atlanta on December 8th. We're going to take a break. Second hour will be pretty much all of your reactions that we can get to on an Overreaction Friday. Please share them with us on Twitter @SoccerDownHere. We'll be right back.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. Ah, that's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Appolinsky & Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Appolinsky at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Appolinsky is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as legal elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
You're listening to Soccer Down Here daily on SDH Networks, a division of OSG Sports. Find us at Soccer Down Here on Facebook and Twitter. The time is now the top of the hour. Peep, y'all.
Welcome back. Soccer Down Here. November 30th. A little over a week away from MLS Cup at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Tickets are flying out of the building, it sounds like, and people who have tickets or brokers who have tickets are charging some rather high prices. This is a big deal. This is a big event, and this is going to be the biggest MLS Cup in league history. Hopefully, it sets a bar for what can happen going forward in this league. It's very cool to be part of that and to be part of the epicenter of it. Jason Davis of SiriusXM-FC said that this could be one of the biggest events in American soccer history. 100% agree. That's where you're at right now. Is 2018 MLS Cup will go down in the record books as the largest attended, the biggest spectacle. We'll see if the game matches up. Finals don't always do that. But as we saw last night, it's not about style points. It's not about being pretty when there's a trophy on the line. Sometimes you just have to grind it out and get it done. That's what Atlanta United did, getting past the Red Bulls, losing 1-0 on the night, winning 3-1 on aggregate, and advancing to the first Major League Soccer championship match in club history. Jason Longshore, John Nelson, Jarrett Smith with you this morning. Overreaction Friday. We're taking your reactions from last night, whether it's about the game, whether it's about the spectacle, whether it's about your watch party, what have you. That's what we're talking about. John, what do we have?
Lewis Martin and in concert and combination, Brandon Felder. For Overreaction Friday, I'm on cloud nine. Even in North Alabama, got to have a meetup with at Lewis R. Martin and celebrate a birth to MLS Cup with some hashtag Five Stripe Faithful. Special night with one more ahead. Hashtag NGSU. And Lewis says that Right Reaction Friday is that today's show is officially the most anticipated SDH episode ever. I hope it's eclipsed in about a week.
Yeah, well, it'll definitely be next Friday will be rather big, and then the one after that will be rather big. So, yeah, there's going to be more, and this is just the start of it. That's pretty much where we're at. This whole next week is going to be crazy as American soccer kind of descends upon Atlanta in a different way than the All-Star Game. The All-Star Game was a celebration of the league, a celebration of where things are. This is different. This is a trophy on the line. This is more meaningful, in my opinion. Not to say the All-Star Game isn't, but it's an exhibition. This is legit trophy-winning opportunity for Giovanni Savarese in his first season in MLS and for Atlanta United in their second season, a club that's trying to set the bar and make this league bigger and better. You do that by winning championships, and we'll see if Atlanta United can get it done on Saturday night. John, what else do we have?
Chandler Creel says the fan who threw trash at Miggy should be banned from U.S. Soccer for life, arrested, charged with assault, and locked in a pillory outside of Mercedes-Benz Stadium during MLS Cup final to be publicly shamed and made an example of. Hashtag overreaction Friday or hashtag
Jesus,
on
that
par
escalated
reaction.
quickly.
Little overreaction. It started, and I was like, yep. Whoa. But
sure you don't want to put them in a stock while you're at it?
I kind of assumed that was
Chandler
part of it.
before it.
Yeah, let's not do that, but let's stop with this throwing stuff nonsense. Yell at a referee if you want to drop some 4-letter words. Okay, go at it. If you have to explain it to the kids around you later, okay, fine. Don't throw anything. Just stop.
Rachel Affleck with the question of questions. Okay, here's one. Who should be singing the anthem at MLS Cup? And then I guess by extension, who would drive the Golden Spike?
No idea. I'm not making calls on this. I'm not that important here. Anthem. I mean, you've got tons of different singers from Atlanta that you can get involved in. I'd love to see somebody with local ties sing it.
Michael Stipe sings the anthem.
No, I don't think Michael Stipe sang a national anthem, and he's not an anthem singer. We had Monica for the All-Star game. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. I think we were supposed to have T-Pain, and his voice gave out.
Yeah, you could turn back to T-Pain. That would be interesting.
Outcast?
No,
you
John.
ain't getting both of them in the.
Outcast didn't sing an anthem. Come on, man, that's not happening. Singing an anthem. I'm trying to think of somebody a little different. I mean, there's Usher. I don't know about Usher singing a national anthem. I don't know if he's done it. There's different ones. I mean, you could go Chili from TLC. I'd be fine with that.
What about your Spike?
It could be anybody. There's a
You need
few...
Flair to come in with the hammer.
Yes, for us that would be amazing, but for your average fan, would it be? I don't know.
I think it was Chewy throughout 2 last night on our full-time report of one option was Luda, which would be
he hasn't done it yet. Yes,
we couldn't remember. Okay, we couldn't remember if he had or not, and I didn't want to look it up because I was tired.
No, Luda did some stuff with the club at the very beginning. I think he was maybe the first celebrity to do some stuff with the shirt and wearing it around and stuff on social, like right after the brand was introduced. Luda and T.I., I think, are the two biggest Atlanta artists who now have not hit the spike.
The other one that Chewy recommended was one that I'm in favor for, which is Donald Glover.
See, that's another one that I think would be really good for some people, and I think some people wouldn't get it quite as much. I could see Glover and Flair like both being like that, where is there a universal, oh my God, this is amazing type of person? I don't know if there is. And then how far down are you going to go? I think Glover would be great. I think Flair would be great. Trying to think of who else.
Port Anderson.
Well, see, that would be even more obscure. I mean, you could go Goldberg, and I think Goldberg would probably be a big name and a big one, and you haven't seen that. So that could be one. There's some people out there that I think would be big and I think would get a big reaction. I don't know if there is that universal, like, son of the city that has not done it yet that should be it for this game. I don't think there is that one person that everybody would agree, yes, this is it.
Yeah. Then Jeremy York with a question for his On Par reaction Friday. 5 stripes with another solid outing may have been one of LGP's best ever. Question. How long should fans/team enjoy the accomplishment before preparing for MLS Cup final?
The team's preparing for MLS Cup final right now. That's the thing. It's why it was a very happy team last night, but it was not a wild plane ride craziness. It wasn't. You had some singing of Campeones. You had that. You had some passing around of the trophy. Absolutely. It was an accomplishment. It's a big one. But there's a bigger one at hand. So today is resting, today for a coaching staff is starting to look at Portland and how you're going to deal with the talent that they bring to the table and the approach that they'll bring to the table. And for the fan base, it's kind of up to you individually. I mean, preparation's a little different. I'm sure your supporters groups are preparing for what they're going to do at MLS Cup. I know people are preparing what they're going to do in the way of tailgating, or if they're not going to the game, where they're going to watch and who they're going to be with and all that type of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. But the team, this is a step. This isn't the destination. So MLS Cup is that destination, and that will be everything to this group. To send Tata Martino out with the trophy, possibly to send Miguel Almiron out with the trophy, and to put a cap on an amazing first 2 years of Atlanta United where you've redefined what Major League Soccer can be.
And Shiva does make the point. Technically, we lost the game last night. After every loss, we come back, so we'll come back and win the Cup.
Oh, we talked about it. We talked about that last night. The bounce-back result that Mike Conti always hits is massive, because I think you've won your last 7 in a row after a loss, or 6 of the last 7 and drew the other one. And I think 3 or 4 of those have been clean sheets. I think the last 3 or 4 wins after a loss have been clean sheets. So, hey, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. It's a different kind of loss, for sure, but a loss is a loss. You lost 1-0 last night. You were shut out last night on the road. Awful attacking performance from Atlanta United. They only had 6 shots. Come on. I think 4 of those were on target, though. They forced 3 pretty big saves from Luis Robles. But they didn't score. They didn't get it done. Now they're going to have to bounce back. We'll see how it goes.
Jarrett Rachel Affleck says, did anyone else think Jair Marufo was awful last night? How is it not a foul at the end?
Whoa. No, you're not throwing it to Jarrett. No. No.
Damn.
Jair Marufo was outstanding last night. Rachel, I've got to disagree with you. I have to disagree, because the alternative and the way that you're wanting it to be called in this would have greatly hurt Atlanta United, because he would have had to call things very, very tight the whole way through, and the Red Bulls would have had a lot of set pieces. Was it very physical? Yeah. Was there some stuff that would be called fouls by other referees? Yep, 100%. That was one where Bradley Wright Phillips did get a little bit of a shot on Leandro Gonzalez Perez in the back, knocked him into Parkhurst. Yes, that was one that, okay, could have called a foul. I don't think he called a foul there. I think it was a goal kick. It's a free kick from the same spot just over to the left. You might give a yellow, but it's stoppage time, right? I mean, if not, it was right at the 90th minute. So it doesn't accomplish anything. And that's what I like about Marufo, is he manages the game as you should, instead of doing stuff that's kind of trifling. Okay, you want to show a yellow there. Fine, it does nothing. It doesn't mean anything. You just get on with it. You just play. During the game, I love the way he managed it. I love the way he was very consistent. Every time there was a player who went down and he felt like it wasn't a foul, Marufo motioned to them, get up, let's play. He didn't ignore it. He didn't just keep going. He didn't call everything. He made a motion. He showed them, look, I see it. I know what's going on here, but play. I love the way he managed the game. I want more referees like that.
Okay. Then Jarrett,
let Jarrett go. No, let Jarrett chime in on that.
Okay,
please.
Jarrett, go for it. All right.
I love the way he called the game. We talked about this post game that it felt like Atlanta United knew what he was going to do once he started calling the way he did. They're like, okay, well, we're going to get to play here, so we're going to harass the living hell out of Red Bulls. We're going to get our shots in. We're going to find that line, and we're going to play jump rope with it. And they did. They had a lot of fouls. Not fouls. They had a lot of hits. They got a lot of hits in that were close to being fouls, but not quite. They knew exactly where his line was, and they played it to a T, and it was beautiful.
I have to go back and look. Rachel said the non-call on BWP leading to the goal for Red Bulls.
I didn't see that one. I have to check.
I didn't see it. Yeah, honestly, I didn't see it. I haven't heard much about that. You might be right, Rachel. But again, let's look at that one in the context too. Did the goal matter?
I wouldn't be shocked.
No, yeah, I mean, you let a lot of stuff go, but did the goal matter? Was it important? No, because you knew. I mean, and he knows at that point. This is what, with 90 seconds, maybe 60 seconds left in stoppage time, and he was going to add just a little bit more because you'd had, I think, the Parkhurst injury. So maybe 2 minutes left, and you're going to kick off. He knows that it's done at that point. What would it have done? And I don't know if this is what he was thinking. I have no idea. But let's assume that maybe this factored into it. You've had fans throw things on the field already. You know that this goal means nothing. You know that it's not going to affect the series. If you call that one back for a non-obvious foul, what are you going to have happen? It's going to be ugly. You let it count. You'll get out of there 3-1 instead of 3-0. Same team's going through. It's all good. I don't know if that factored in. I have to go back and watch. I didn't see anything egregious, so it's fine. It's fine. It was a meaningless goal, and I think Marufo managed the game in a way that the game was decided in the right way. And part of that is sometimes allowing things to go and knowing when to step in and when not to. And I thought Marufo did a really good job of that.
Yeah, it was
Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a foul on the goal. Being you watch Red Bulls in the box. I mean, it's set pieces. A lot of times, it's really chaotic.
Yeah,
they set picks, they move, they try to knock people off their spot. There's a couple of games both teams had players on the ground, so I wouldn't be shocked if there was a foul there. But yeah, flow of the game. It didn't really matter. Ben Bear posted the numbers after the game about expected goals, and said, we're going to post this anyway, even though it doesn't really matter because look at game state. And don't read too much into it, but here it is if anybody wants it.
Yeah, it meant nothing the way that game played out.
Daniel Graham had to resort to ZQL at 2:30 in the morning so he wouldn't miss the show. And Gustavo. Good morning, Gustavo. Hashtag Overreaction Friday. 2 years as an Atlanta United 17. I reached the 18 yesterday. With a 3-0, our team lowered the shutters. They would have turned off the lights if needed. Red Bulls got angry. The goal was shortened. We didn't suffer too much and bunkered to get our first cup.
The big important thing is not suffering too much. And that's the key here is you really weren't that threatened as this went on. And that's what's impressive about it. You were able to see off a team that was desperate. You were able to see off a team that needed to. I'm going back and looking at that goal right now. It would have been very trifling to call a foul there. I don't know if BWP even really made contact with anybody. He kind of jumped in and then turned his back to back into stuff and clear it away. Had his arm out, had his arm up a little high. But you can see the reaction from the Atlanta players. They don't care. They know what's going on at this point. Tim Parker gets a goal. New York doesn't get shut out. Nah, you can't call that. You can't call that knowing the situation. The thing about not suffering too much, though, from Gustavo is really important because that's why Atlanta was able to get this done, is they were never at risk of losing the series last night. Never. You had chances to put it away. You didn't. Luis Robles kept the Red Bulls in it, and you made the chances that New York were able to find, you made them not matter too much. That's really impressive for a young team and a team that does not get enough credit for the defensive work that they do, Jarrett. I think Jarrett threw his phone.
I think he did.
All right. We're going to go to break. Maybe Jarrett will find his phone. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency, or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Appolinsky & Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Appolinsky at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Appolinsky is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Welcome back. Soccer Down Here. We're in hour number 2, I think, of an Overreaction Friday. I'm awake, I think, on a Friday after I think we landed. It was just before 3 o'clock. It was around just before 3 o'clock. Fox 5 was there, by the way. That's kind of cool. Like, Fox 5 was there filming people getting off the plane. That's kind of nuts. This is a big deal, y'all. This is not how it gets treated in every city. This is not how it was treated in Portland, probably. And Portland's a great soccer market. It's definitely not how this game was treated in New York, because the Red Bulls did get a little bit of press yesterday, but it was not a full stadium. And it's somewhat understandable because they lost 3-0 in the first leg. You know that the likelihood of getting through is very slim, but this has been a problem for the Red Bulls all season. It was a full stadium in Kansas City, and it was an amazing atmosphere from the highlights I've seen. But what happened last night, all the media going up for it, all the reporting, all the talk, that's only going to expand now. We might get one of those hotel conference rooms full of somebody selling gear. And it might be actually authorized gear, because most of those with the Braves back in the day were, at least at the very beginning. Then you started to see the bootlegs on the side.
The unauthorized gear is the most fun.
It can be. It can be really bad, and it can be really great sometimes. It just depends. Amazing stuff. And Atlanta goes through to host MLS Cup next Saturday. There'll be lots of things coming out between now and then as we all prepare for it. I don't know what our plans are for the day. I know we'll be doing a tailgate show presented by Appolinsky & Associates from the Gulch with the Faction. I know I'll be hopping on with 92.9 The Game because they'll be broadcasting live from the Gulch. We have a 2-hour pregame show that will be from the bins, from the booth. Myself, Mike Conti, and special guests. We'll have a post-game show that who knows how long it will go, depending on what happens. It's going to be the biggest soccer event in Atlanta and the biggest soccer event in the United States in a long time. That's what we're looking at on December 8th. So go ahead and prepare. Go ahead and prepare maybe for December 9th, not getting up early on December 9th. Sorry, Sunday morning. It's going to be rough, but it's going to be a big one. It's exciting. It's really exciting as it's been sinking in that this is going to happen. John, what else do we have on the Twitters on an Overreaction Friday?
A lot of folks have already proclaimed that they're not getting anything done and won't get anything done today. So this Friday is probably going to be a wash for a lot of people. And thanks to those folks who are listening to us to start their day, that's going to end up being a wash.
Yeah.
Jake, at Jake Rodon 21, Overreaction Friday with the hashtag. I think the Toronto loss was a huge blessing in disguise, not only for waking the team up, but almost more importantly for giving us the huge advantage of playing at home first in the series.
Yeah, I mean, that did actually help a lot, and I don't think that's a black helicopter theory thing. That's incredibly forward thinking if it was. I think it's the fact that Atlanta United learned what it's like in these situations now, and you have to go through it. You're not going to be able to get this from a video session. You're not going to get this from reading a book. You have to experience what it's like, how you feel when you know that if you take care of the business in front of you, you're lifting a trophy at the end of the night. That was the scenario in Toronto. You knew that. You knew that if you got the win there, you're holding a trophy up in front of Toronto fans, and you're bringing it home with you. That is something you have to go through. And the team struggled in Toronto. They came out tight. They looked like they were nervous. They haven't looked like that since. They didn't look like that against NYC. They didn't look like that at Yankee Stadium. They definitely didn't look like that in the second leg. They definitely didn't look like that in the first leg. And they didn't look nervous at all last night. They looked like a team that came in with a mission and a team that said nothing will be easy for you tonight and took care of business. That is something you can only learn by doing. The Toronto loss, the loss back at Red Bull Arena in September, both were critical to Atlanta United's development to have those things go against you and to be able to bounce back and learn from it. Though they were critical. And I agree. I think having the first leg at home in this series was massive because you're able to make a team in the Red Bulls that really can't do a whole lot with the ball on their own. Everything they do is based off taking things away from you. And it's harder to do that on the road, even though the Red Bulls are a good road team. It's harder to do that on the road. And I think Chris Armas overthought it. I think Chris Armas really kind of struggled last night in the moments. The halftime situation was very strange to me. Armas didn't have anybody up warming up in the first half. Then at the start of the second half, when they come back out, he sends Shatkovsky and Etienne to go warm up. They could have warmed up and come on at halftime, where I think you needed as much time as you could get. They had to go warm up. They warm up. Then they end up coming in. And at that point, Armas isn't worried about shape. He's just trying to get guys on the field who can make something happen. Etienne's playing left back, sort of. Tyler Adams played everywhere. And I saw some people criticizing Tyler Adams' game last night. I have no idea what you were watching. Tyler Adams made 4 or 5 big defensive interventions for the Red Bulls, and then somehow 20 seconds later would pop up in the attacking third. He was everywhere. He did everything he could to try to carry that team to an epic result. So I have no idea anybody would be criticizing Tyler Adams. Was it always clean and perfect touch and that type of stuff? No, but that's not how that game was ever going to be last night. I thought Adams put in an unbelievable work rate.
Drew Hubbard, Jarrett, let me start with you with this one. If Atlanta were to win MLS Cup with Toronto's previous points record, would they be considered the best ever team in MLS, or would it depend on Champions League?
Champions League is going to be a whole other kettle of fish because it's not going to be the same team. There are going to be changes from this team that we saw last night and that we'll see next Saturday in the Champions League team. So that's going to be a hard one to pull. I can't say they're better than Toronto from last year because that Toronto team had a trouble. I mean, I get it. The Canadian Cup isn't the same as the U.S. Open Cup in terms of perceived difficulty or even maybe real difficulty. But Toronto did have a trouble. I think that gives them an advantage in that argument. But Atlanta's in that conversation for sure.
They're in the conversation, but Toronto won the Supporters' Shield and MLS Cup. That's not easy to do. They also won the Canadian Cup. Yeah, it's different, but it's still a trophy. That Toronto team was the most successful in MLS history. Were they the best team in MLS history? It's a different conversation. The Toronto team won everything they could. They were by far the most successful. And they got 2 penalties in a Champions League final with pretty much the same group. They had injuries at that point, but you hadn't had massive turnover in that roster from the end of 17 to Champions League final of 18. Atlanta will be different. In terms of best team, depending on how you measure that, Atlanta's in the conversation, but they have to get the job done on Saturday first. If they don't, then you're not in that conversation. If you do, yeah, I think they're one of the most flexible teams tactically that we've ever seen in MLS. I think they're one of the most explosive teams we've ever seen in MLS. And I think they're one of the better defending teams. They just don't get that credit. I think this group of Parkhurst and LGP, and whether it's in a 3-man back line with Lorenowitz, sometimes Robinson, sometimes Escobar, the amount of moving pieces in this team is what makes them, if they get it done on Saturday, one of the best in MLS history. They won't be the most successful, though, because that's Toronto for what they did. They won 3 trophies in a year. That had never happened before.
Associate Producer Emeritus Jay Riddle. Portland is dangerous and strong on the road, but I'm grateful to be playing them instead of Sporting Kansas City simply for the high ceiling and potential for a massive party. Huge away travel footprint. Timbers Army was a blast at the tailgate and entertaining talent on the pitch, which put together will be a huge advertisement for the world for what I believe will be the biggest and most festive MLS Cup for the world to witness. It's going to be lit! ! Kind of like Jay's beard was last night.
Yeah, the last part of it for sure. I think Kansas City fans would have come and represented in big numbers and been great as well. It's two of the best fan bases in the league, Kansas City and Portland. Portland has longer to go, and we'll see what the numbers look like, and we'll see how all that gets worked out. But I'm not measuring it on the party aspect of it. I know all the lead-up will be great because it's Portland and because they will bring fans who are great fans for the league. But this is all about business. This is all about a trophy at the end, and Portland makes that very difficult, in my opinion. I think more difficult than Kansas City would have. Kansas City's more balanced. Portland has 2 guys in Valeri and Blanco that can ruin your day. Diego Chara can ruin some days too, but Valeri and Blanco, we saw the goal last night. Valeri, we've watched him for years now, and these are 2 guys who know each other very well. So Portland, to me, is the more dangerous opponent, and with this team on a mission to lift MLS Cup, that's scary because Portland could have the type of game that Atlanta had last night, 30% of the possession, 6 shots, 4 on target. Portland could score 2 goals with that. They're that dangerous. For me, I think Atlanta opening up Portland's defense is going to be the key. And whether that's down the flanks or through combination play in the middle, you've got to get this back line who is not overly athletic. You've got to get them defending 1v1 in space. Questions about Larry's Mabiala. He's had ankle injuries in the postseason. He's been in and out. Where's he going to be for Saturday? What are going to be the soft spots in the Timbers attack and Timbers defense? That's going to be the key for Atlanta. There's a lot to figure out between now and then, and we'll try to break all that down for you as we get into next week.
Gustavo comes back in with more overreaction Friday using the hashtag. If I know something about soccer, the MLS Cup will be ours next Saturday. No triumphalism, but 72,000 fans at MBS could give an incredible amount of positive energy, enough to turn any unfriendly cards.
I agree. The thing about it with Portland, I don't think that's going to scare them, and that's what's so impressive. I don't think they will care if it's 5 Portland fans and 75,000 Atlanta fans. I think Portland would kind of enjoy that and kind of thrive on it. That's what worries me about them. I think they get off on that type of stuff. I think they get off on ruining fans' days. That's what Portland kind of likes. So it will be a huge effect on Atlanta. I don't think it will have as much of an effect on Portland as we've seen it affect other teams. I think they're a little more battle-tested.
And Nick Alifi, host of Soccer Over There, says, Syria will come calling for LGP, mark my words.
It's hard to say. I mean, can he play there? Absolutely. but there is still a perception against MLS players. There is a perception against guys who come here instead of going elsewhere. I think that's going to change really quickly, but how fast? I don't know. Serie A really hasn't been too gung-ho about bringing in Major League Soccer players. We'll see if that changes. We'll see where Miguel Almiron ends up, and we'll see what kind of numbers we're talking about there, because to me that opens up a door for everybody in this league to be in that shop window. And we'll have to see what happens. The flip side is, if something like that was to happen, if players like that move on, there will be other players, because this is becoming a destination for a lot of young talent. This is a destination league now. It's a league that's in a very tricky spot in the world of soccer, where it is an importing league of talent from South America, Central America. It's trying to become an exporting league of talent over to Europe and making money. It's in that in-between stage. It's not Belgium and the Netherlands to me yet in terms of perception, but I think it's going to get closer to it in terms of importing, exporting, and the types of importing and exporting it'll do. I think MLS has the potential to pass them, though, and I really do think that MLS can be among the best leagues in the world, not that far off. I think France is absolutely attainable. That level of play and more parity than one team running away with everything and the rest of the game's not really mattering too much. I really think MLS can get there. I think in terms of quality and perception, I think they can get there in not too long of a period of time. It's going to be fascinating to see. Gustavo mentioned the fan base. I wanted to share this from last night on our 92.9 call. I believe this was in the full-time report, where you could still hear the fans from Atlanta as the Red Bull fans were leaving, very dejected. You know, it was a tough night for Red Bulls fans to watch another Supporters Shield team not reach MLS Cup. Atlanta fans, they didn't care about that, and they were pretty loud. Here's a clip, and we'll go to break. We'll be back with more overreactions after this.
Do you hear this? Sounds like we're back home, doesn't it? That's the sound of the Atlanta supporters shouting the Red Bull supporters out of their own building.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. Ah, that's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Appolinsky & Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Appolinsky at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Appolinsky is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Welcome back. Soccer Down Here, Overreaction Friday. Jason Longshore, John Nelson, Jarrett Smith with you this morning as we all try to come to our senses after Atlanta United gets the job done last night in Jersey. 1-0 loss on the night, 3-1 win on aggregate, and Atlanta United will be hosting MLS Cup on Saturday night, December 8th. A couple more reactions as we go. We did not get Chris Ashley, and I think this was from last night, actually, and then shared it again. Another Golden Spike suggestion, Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. It's another one that is kind of in that boat to me. Yeah, I get the symbolism. I totally get the symbolism with The Walking Dead. But as big of a show as The Walking Dead was, not everybody's going to get that and know that. I think, that's in that Flair, Glover type of comparison, which that might be the way you go. That might be the right way to go. Because I can't come up with the obvious, yes, for this game, this is who it is, and everybody will know and go crazy. I probably lean towards Flair or Goldberg being more of that because you can include the music and do something with that, and that helps cue people. But they're not that universal. I mean, as big of wrestling fans as we are do the show, and a lot of you guys who listen, not everybody is. So do you want to go down that road? There's not an Atlanta sports legend out there that hasn't done it that would be the man to do this. That's what's interesting about this, and I'm fascinated to see what direction they go. I'm really curious.
I don't know.
Can
Hank do it physically?
He's done it, hasn't he?
I don't remember.
I think he and if you have to repeat, that's fine. I'm not 100% sure if he can physically at this point. I think he can. He broke his hip, I think, at the beginning of the year or late last year. But I'm just about positive he's done it.
We've had other folks suggest Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, Five Stripe Daily. That actually is really good because that's a big name that I think is pretty close to universal, and he's Atlanta as it gets. So if you don't go Ludacris T.I., Samuel L. Jackson has to be in that conversation. I think Ric Flair, Goldberg are in that conversation. Sorry, Chris. I don't know if Walking Dead gets there. I don't think it's at that same level. I think the storyline behind it would be great, but I don't think it works for MLS Cup. I think you'd have to look, if you're going Hollywood actors, I think you're looking at a Samuel L. Jackson. That's a big one. That's actually a really good call.
And Alifi also says, last night as I watched Atlanta United hoist the Eastern Conference trophy, I thought about my dad playing for the Chiefs and running clinics for them in Savannah. How far we've come. This is no overnight flash in the pan. This has been in the works for decades.
Yeah, that's the stuff that, I mean, I was definitely feeling that. And I don't go back to the Chiefs days. I mean, I'm like thinking back to John Doyle, Bruce Murray, Atlanta Ruckus against Montreal in the A-League semifinals in 95, and then against Seattle in the A-League finals in 95. Those were the guys that I saw first. I wasn't here for the Atlanta Attack days, and they only lasted 2 years. I had, in middle school, first couple years of high school, I was living in Lexington, Kentucky. I did get a chance to see an Attack game. We came down to visit, but I didn't live and die with that team, and it was indoor and it was different. And there's lots of things that don't necessarily carry over. For me, it was that Ruckus team in '95, and then getting a chance to work with the Ruckus. There really weren't those moments. Later on into the Silverbacks era, you're looking at a Silverbacks team that beat Portland in a playoff series in USL First Division. In a semifinal series, and the Silverbacks advanced to the final to face Seattle, where Seattle pounded them in 2007. But the Silverbacks got through a Portland team that they really didn't have a whole lot of business in getting through, and the second leg was kind of like this one, where it was a lot of defend and defend and defend and try to find something, and they did, and they got through. That's about it. I mean, that's it for Atlanta soccer in terms of being in this spot. Now, all the work, all the camps, all the clinics, all the youth coaches, all the youth soccer administrators, all the different people who have helped build it to this, it's a reason why it is what it is. But being in this moment, MLS Cup coming to town, you've had two different Atlanta clubs play for a championship in games in Atlanta. The Chiefs did it twice. In 1968, they won the second leg. 50 years ago. Kind of crazy how things work, huh? They won the second leg against San Diego at the old Atlanta Stadium. Kaiser Moton carried off the field in the victory. The Chiefs played again in the final in 71, and they lost to the Dallas Tornado. And the Ruckus played the first of a best-of-3 series against the Seattle Sounders in 95, which technically was the first division in American soccer at that point. It was a year before MLS. And they won that first leg in a shootout at Adams Stadium in front of 4,000 screaming lunatics. I don't know what the 1971 games at Atlanta Stadium drew off the top of my head. I believe the second leg of the final in 68 drew 14,000, and that was a big crowd at that time. This is going to be a whole nother world. This is going to be World Cup level. This is going to be, this is World Series. This is that, because there's nothing else to compare it to. The Falcons haven't played in a Super Bowl in Atlanta. Had a chance this year, but then everybody got hurt. This is not the Hawks, because the Hawks haven't played in an NBA Finals in Atlanta. This is special. This is huge, and not even from just a soccer perspective. This is big for the city. This is a big moment, and what I love is that it is in that conversation with Braves World Series times, because that's what it feels like. There's nothing else to compare this to me, and I don't know if it's like this everywhere else. I want it to be. I want it to be like this in other cities. It's just not yet, and I hope that people take away that it can be. There's nothing special and unique here in that it can't happen in your way in another city. Would it be the exact same? No. Atlanta does have some special qualities about it that make Atlanta soccer what it is. But can Cincinnati have their own moment like this? Absolutely. Could Chicago? Yeah. LA, New York, DC, Kansas City, Seattle, Portland, all of it. In their markets, when they have this opportunity, it can feel like this. But there's a lot of work that has to continue to be done and built up for that to happen. I think Atlanta's setting the bar really high. And I think the bar will be extremely high for teams down the road in terms of building a fan base and in terms of creating an atmosphere that's special like this. I don't think it's easy to replicate, but I think it can be done.
For me, it goes back to the Georgia Generals, Chiefs 2.0, and to dispel the rumor, no, I was not at the championship game in 1968. But, for me, it's going to Fulton County Stadium and seeing the Chiefs take on the Washington Diplomats and Bill Irwin in net. And strangely enough, going to Los Angeles to be with my dad in the summertime and see the California Surf take on the Washington Diplomats. I guess I attracted dips at that point in my life. And then going to what I referred to as Memorial Stadium, DeKalb Memorial. You go see the Georgia Generals, buried somewhere in my stacks of stuff. I still have the program from that game that I went to. For me, it's Gold Cup soccer camp at Mercer, Atlanta. And they couldn't figure out where to put a slow kid. So what do? They put him in net, and they put him on right wing because of his left foot. And now to see this to where it is, it's been a long road, and it's going to be fun. So as I said on yesterday's show, enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride and where everything has come from to where it is.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference in that stuff, and this is why, one reason why Atlanta soccer is in a different place, is the Georgia Generals were just trying to keep the doors open. The Atlanta Ruckus for a long time were just trying to keep the doors open. They went through 4 owners. They went through an owner before they even got to opening day in 95. And then the second owner had to come in and actually get it over the line. Then he bailed out early in 96, and another guy came in. Then the league took it away. Then the Silverbacks ownership bought it. The Chiefs, going into 68, going into the championship series, it was, are the Chiefs going to survive next year? Are they going to happen? You've got to save the Chiefs movement, save our soccer movement. You've got that stuff going. That ain't the story anymore. And that's a big part of this. I think soccer in Atlanta always felt like, okay, what's next? Are we going to get through this, or is it going to survive? The Atlanta Beat had great success in their first iteration. 2 championship matches in 3 years. They were one of the most successful teams in the original WUSA, the first women's professional league.
Foxborough and covered it. Yep.
And they didn't survive. That's not the case anymore. And it's great to see that that's not the story. The story is not, is MLS going to keep going? Is Atlanta soccer going to keep going? The story is, how big can it get? You know, how much bigger can it get from here? Saturday, massive. But it's not the ceiling. It's not the limit. That's what's cool about this. That's what's so cool about this, is there's so much room for this to grow, because it is just part of the sports conversation. It's not in a bubble with a ceiling on it. Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit for soccer in Atlanta. Sky's the limit for soccer in this country. I want everybody to realize that, and I don't want to see what happened in New York last night with the fan base. Artist formerly known as TLC, before we go to break real quick, and this is a prime example when you start thinking of Golden Spike. Says, I have no issue with anyone selected to hit the spike, but the various recording artists, rappers, musical artists, and y'all's references to various wrestlers, including Ric Flair, which he misspelled, but Rick will be okay with that, have no familiarity to me at all. I know I'm in South Carolina, but I don't listen to the music or watch wrestling, and that's a big part of it. If you can find it, see, he's more of Rick Grimes, Andrew Lincoln's the actor, as close to Universal as it gets, aside from Arthur Blank. Walking Dead averaged 10 million at its peak in terms of viewership, which was an amazingly great rating for cable. But that's not as big. And he's in London, so as artist formerly known as TLC says, that might be a little difficult to pull off. Wrestlers and rappers are not universal, and I've been saying that. I'm with you.
How about David Justice? He handed the city a title last time out.
I would be fine with it. A lot of people would be angry about it, because a lot of people were angry about Dave Justice, which made no sense to me.
Glavin, Small Tank Aaron?
Well, we talked about Hank Aaron. We've already covered that one. Glavin and Smoltz haven't. Andrew Young, I want to say, has been involved in a Golden Spike ceremony, but that would be a great one.
Deion Sanders.
That would just be funny. I don't know, but let's get back to the big point of Tafka before we go to break, our final break. I don't think there is a universal Golden Spike. I think we're spending a whole lot of time talking about a pregame ceremony, for one, which is great, and we love it, and it's fun to throw names around, but it's a very small part of the occasion, so you have a little bit of leeway in what you do with it. I don't think there's one person that everybody in the building is going to be like, yes, this is the perfect person, yes. I hope there is. I hope there's somebody that we're not thinking of. I hope there is that perfect one that everybody loves, but if there's not, don't worry about it. Don't get bent out of shape about it. It's not a big deal. It's a part of the pregame that is very cool, but it doesn't define everything. The 90 minutes on the field, maybe 120, maybe penalties. That's what's going to define how you feel coming out of the building, not who hits the Golden Spike. Let's take our final break.
Still pick that thing up?
That would maybe be the most universal one, and that actually did come to mind. I don't know about that part. I don't know physically, but yeah, that would maybe be as universal as it gets, and even that's not universal and everybody loving it. So I don't know. But again, it's a small part of it, and it's not going to ruin your day any which way. So that's fun. That's great. We'll get into your final overreactions for the final segment, and we'll give you our final thoughts as we wrap up the week here on Soccer Down Here. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. and that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency, or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Apolinski and Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Apolinski at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Apolinski is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Final segment, Soccer Down Here, November 30th, Atlanta United hosting Major League Soccer's championship match, MLS Cup, on Saturday, December 8th, as they advance past the New York Red Bulls in the Eastern Conference Final. Portland Timbers advance past Sporting Kansas City in the Western Conference. So Portland comes to Atlanta next Saturday. Be a huge day all the way around. Our coverage on 92.9 The Game will be constant and epic and crazy, and it'll be one of the busiest days of my life, and I cannot wait for it. I cannot wait to be that tired at the end of it. Domer Donaldson, Terminus Legion leadership, says this: Friday feelings. Shout out to the 17s that we could hear over the pitiful Jersey fans. That's a little harsh. As an overall base, yes. As the committed fans, I will disagree. I thought the supporters group, I can't remember what they I know what some of their groups are, but I can't remember what they call that end of the stadium. I might be wrong. I want to say the north end. No, that's Kansas City. I might be wrong. I want to say the north end. Anyway, that section was loud and intense, and even late in the game when it was, all but done, they were great. The overall base not filling the stadium, yeah, I would agree with you, Domer. All day NGSU, Terminus Legion, all the supporters groups tailgate in the Gulch next weekend. Expect a start of no later than noon. He says if a 7 o'clock kick, it's actually going to be just after 8. I think it'll probably still start at noon. I don't expect people to hold off. Terminus Legion, Resurgence, Footy Mob, Faction, all already working on the TIFO design. Wonderful things going on.
South Ward,
there you go. I knew it was a directional thing, but I could not remember. South Ward was awesome. And except for stuff being thrown out of the South Ward, that part was not awesome. But the part coming out of the South Ward was after the VAR call, which, if you had a replay and you had an explanation, I think that's an easy call and you see it. I was a little surprised at that part, but the other stuff that I had more of a problem with, the Miguel Almiron thing, was from the side. The stuff at the end was from the side that I noticed mostly. So we're gonna keep banging that home. Don't throw stuff. It's not cool. It's dangerous. I want to see referees be more harsh about dealing with it. Walt Baxley, with Marufo and Geiger working last night, who will get MLS Cup? They wouldn't let a ref work back-to-back games with a team, would they? They could. They did with Kevin Stott. He did the first leg of both series for Atlanta. So I don't know what their policy is. If Marufo and Geiger are not in the middle for MLS Cup, I would guess that Alan Kelly would get it. He's had a couple of MLS Cups. He has been the head of the professional referees organization. Maybe that factors into the assignment. but Kelly would probably be the other one that I would turn to. I think Stott is a possibility. I would rather go Marufo, Kelly, Geiger, Stott, if I'm ranking them 1 to 4. But I think, and we'll have to go back and look as we dig into it, I don't think there's a policy against it, because I know Stott worked the first leg of both series for Atlanta, so I have to go back and look to see, previous years if guys worked the second leg of the conference finals, so they turned around and did MLS Cup. It can be a good or a bad thing. I thought Stott handled it well in the second leg against the Red Bulls. There wasn't a ton outside of that VAR incident to deal with, to be honest. I mean, it was a pretty easy game to call outside of that, and he got help from the VAR and got the call right. Jarrett, any preferences on referee for MLS Cup in your mind?
Put Marufo back in there. I'm fine with that. That's what he did the other night. Man, I know people don't want to hear it, but Mark Geiger's going to get considered for this, y'all.
Yeah, he should.
He should. Just don't throw anything at him like they did in Kansas City last night, where he comes over and was giving the AR and Peter Vermes the business. That was amazing. I've never seen Geiger look that bad. He had a right to be. People were throwing stuff on the field. He may have gotten clipped, if I'm not mistaken. Or it might have just been stuff getting on the field in general. But, man, he was giving them the business. Vermes had to go out there and yell at the fans. Not a good look, but he's going to get considered. I mean, you've got good options right now. It's 2 or 3 good options. It's not Baldomero Toledo probably, so I'm hopeful about that.
Yeah, as long as we don't go there, I'm okay. Patrick Sullivan said that Rob Stone last night said Atlanta only has 1 national championship on the broadcast, and Patrick assumed that it was the 68 Chiefs that he was talking about. He forgot about the 95 Braves. It's the classic thing of people put soccer championships, especially from the old NASL, kind of in a completely different category. That one to me is different because in Atlanta in 1968, it was treated as a big deal. Not Braves, Falcons. The Hawks had just started in Atlanta at that time. Not that level of a big deal, but yeah, it was treated as a big deal because it was the first championship for the city of Atlanta in a major professional sport, and that's how it was reported at the time. Over time, I think you forget about that because that team didn't survive past 1972. They came back for 3 more years later, and a little bit different ownership, different scenario altogether. But yeah, in '68 when the Chiefs won, it was treated as a big deal. Atlanta United has a lot of work to do to lift the MLS Cup at the end of the day. But yeah, it will be treated as a rather large deal, I think. Ricky Ricardo thinks it's funny that the Red Bulls are now in the spot of having to hope Atlanta United wins MLS Cup to get into the CONCACAF Champions League. If Portland wins it, they get the final spot in CONCACAF Champions League. If Atlanta wins MLS Cup, then they're already in as the team that's had the best record over the last 2 years. You go to the next best team over the last 2 years, and it would be the New York Red Bulls. That's how they get back into CONCACAF. If Portland wins, they win their way into CONCACAF. Atlanta goes into CONCACAF. The Red Bulls are sitting at home and watching the CONCACAF Champions League, if that's the case. Trying to see if there's any other discussion that we have not hit. John, anything that popped up for you that's not Golden Spike related? Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, Domer with 1 and Jorge Santander with 1.
All right,
Domer, hashtag Friday feeling. Shout out to the 17s we could hear over pitiful Jersey fans all day NGSU.
John, we got that one.
Well, no, I'm getting it's all day NGSU Terminus Legion tailgate in the Gulch next weekend. Expect a start of no later than noon if a 7 p.m. kick. Legion, Resurgence, Footy, and Faction are already working on the TIFO design. Wonderful things with 3 exclamation points. And then Jorge Santander says, unauthorized gear from Buford Highway is easily my favorite type of gear. I always get giddy seeing the printed HO and Vietnam on labels.
I do like that part. John, I think you slept less than I did.
Hey, you know me on nights
We did
like
talk
this.
about Domer's tweet, if I'm not mistaken, unless I dreamed it just a couple of minutes ago. So
okay. Well, then here, how about this? Alifi says Geiger's working FIFA Club World Cup later the week.
Okay, so there you go. You won't see You probably won't see Geiger for the final, and I think that'll make people happy. If it's Marufo, I'm fine with that. Even though he just did this game, I'm fine with that. I don't think anybody comes out of the game on the Atlanta side with any ill will towards Marufo. I think Portland would feel pretty good about Marufo after what he did in the game against Seattle. So I'm great with Jair Marufo getting the whistle for MLS Cup. I think it'd be great. Jill Robbins tweets, picture this, it's 2030, U.S. men's national team taking the field in the FIFA World Cup, featuring a kid who remembers the nexus of the MLS dynasty that began in 2018 with his hometown club, Atlanta United. That's the stuff, y'all. That's the stuff, is the kids who are at home watching that game last night, the kids who will be in the building for MLS Cup on Saturday, the kids who want to be Miguel Almiron and Joseph Martinez and Andrew Carlton and Michael Parkhurst and George Bello and Darlington Nagbe. This is game-changing for their development. You know, these are the moments that when I was a kid and I loved the game and I wanted to be a professional soccer player, I didn't have something like this to look to. I mean, my senior year in high school and actually into my freshman year at college was that year of the ruckus in 95. I knew by that point I was not going to be a professional soccer player, even though being a professional soccer player at that time was a completely different conversation than it is now. There was a lower bar of entry, but still, I knew that wasn't happening. But as a young kid, you know, when I first started playing the game, when I was 9, 10, 11, 12, you didn't have a professional league. You didn't have MLS Cup with 75,000 people. You didn't have people flying across the country to go to a game and be as loud as the home fans. You didn't have those things. So now kids do. They have that motivator. You're going to have a lot of kids who are motivated to wear the Atlanta United kit in an MLS Cup when they're adults. That's the game changer here. That's what's crazy about this, is you already had it. You already had the kids excited. You already had things happening. Things were already moving in a great direction. This is just that accelerator to it. And it's special. It's going to be very, very exciting. And I'm as excited to see some of the kids in the stands on Saturday as the supporters groups, as the Portland fans who are going to fly across the country for their biggest game this season. All that is great, but that next generation, man, they're getting a big kickstart with this team and this run. Huge kickstart, because now you've got kids who want to lift that Eastern Conference Championship trophy. You've got kids who want to lift MLS Cup at the end. Very, very cool. John Lee Huey was watching every video ever of the match and post-match amazingness this morning and was touched at how quickly LGP got everybody to leave the podium and go celebrate in the corner with the 17s. Next captain, hashtag. Yeah, you saw a few guys like that. Julian Gressel led the way over there as well. A lot of players ran in that direction right at the final whistle, then went back with the trophy. You had the classic set the trophy down the penalty spot and everybody run in and slide into it, which that video is awesome. Lots of cool things. Very cool for Bradley Wright Phillips to exchange jerseys with Joseph Martinez after what had to be just a gut-wrenching loss for Bradley Wright Phillips, who's done everything in this league but get to an MLS Cup. Lots of cool stuff. I'll share one with you guys before we finish up that meant a lot to me. When a team wins a trophy like this, it is all about those players who put in an unbelievable amount of work. And when they win that trophy, it's theirs. It is their trophy because they did it. As much as all the work goes on off the field, as much as all the people behind the scenes that you guys might know and might not know, it's the players who put in that work and lift that trophy, and it is their trophy, and they own it, and they get to celebrate with it, and they get to do everything with it. I thought it was really cool last night as we were all in line to get on the plane, and we're at the airport just waiting to go through the little bit of security for a charter flight. Joseph Martinez walks up the line with all the staff, myself, Mike, all the behind-the-scenes staff, with the trophy, full of beer, and has everybody take a drink out of it. That was very, very cool. And it's something that he didn't have to do, and it's something the players didn't have to do, and they did. And they shared it with everybody who was part of it, from Tata Martino, who had everybody who was on the field from Atlanta United get up on the podium before him, to Joseph doing that with the behind-the-scenes staff, to the players running over to the fan base. This is special, y'all. This is not your run-of-the-mill professional sports team. Joseph wasn't kidding when he said Atlanta's family. Atlanta es familia. This is legit. And this is a team that is going to give you everything that they have in their bodies to try to win MLS Cup for you. And no, you can't pass MLS Cup. You can't pass the trophy around for everybody to get that. But you know that when they run over to that fan base at Red Bull Arena and they hold that trophy up for them, that's their way of sharing it with you. Hopefully, they get to run around lots of corners at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Saturday night with a trophy. But there's a lot of work to do between now and then, and we'll be talking about it all the way through. We'll get you ready for Atlanta and Portland, December 8th. I wanted to share this with you as we go out. Mike Conti closed on our call last night. Thanks to everybody who listened. Thanks to everybody who shared pictures from your parties, your watch parties with us. We felt like we were there with all of you guys, and that was very cool. And it's special to be part of telling the story of this team. This is Mike from our close last night. Before Mike closes us out, Mucha Plata, y'all. Thanks for listening.
Mucha Plata, y'all.
Mucha MLS Cup, y'all. Do you know the Domer just sent a tweet?
He did. Here's Mike.
Seconds remain. Nagbe volleys it over Etienne. Etienne and Nagbe on the far touchline, and Nagbe falls Etienne. Fouls him, I should say. It's played up to Adams. Full time. The Kings of the South or the Kings of the East? Atlanta United will host the MLS Cup final.